Hello there, traveler. Come sit around our fire. We're exchanging tales of our adventures and daring do. I'm Jared Logan, the game master for this special recording where we are going to dive into Cubicle 7's new book, A Life Well Lived. It gives all kinds of incredible character creation tools. With me, I have Sydney Amanuel, Ross Bryant, Matthew Capodicasa, and Rob Kerkovich here to create some Dungeons & Dragons 5e characters. How's it going, guys?
It's great.
Hail and well met.
Hail and well met, Sydney.
Sir?
Yes, the road is long and winding, and we dusty travelers four now seek solace by the crackling fire.
Yes, would anybody like a s'more?
Oh,
Yes, please.
Two, please.
In my Dungeons & Dragons world, s'mores exist. Okay, everybody
Sure,
gets
that
a
makes
s'more.
sense.
Well, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for doing this with me, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. I want to talk about this book. Our sponsor is Cubicle 7. Thank you, guys, so much for sponsoring a stream here during our big Gen Con celebration here at the Glass Cannon. Hope everybody's having an excellent Gen Con at home or wherever you may be. If you're in Indianapolis, I hope you've been safe and you've kept clean. And you've avoided the public restrooms in the convention center. So, yes, Cubicle 7 has sponsored this stream. We're so thankful they did. And we're so thankful for this new book that they came out with. I really, really do love this book. It's called A Life Well Lived. You can buy it today at cubicle7games.com. There'll be a link in the description. Basically, this book is like Player's Handbook Part 2. If you are starting a new Dungeons & Dragons 5e campaign, I think this is a great book to have. It gives you all kinds of tools for creating the characters, but also kind of filling in their world. So there's a life path system for character creation, meaning, you get not just your character as they stand now when you created them, but their childhood experiences, their adolescent experiences, what turned them into an adventurer. We're going to find all that out with our characters that we're going to roll up today. There's also chapters on campcraft activities.
Oh.
That's campcraft.
Ooh.
So much like the s'mores I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Like
they're
arts
kind
and
of
crafts?
maybe arts and crafts might be involved. Basically, campcraft is like little
Archery.
encounter mini game things you can do while you're all seated around the campfire as a party.
Cool.
Oh, I love
Very, very adorable.
I think we can agree that like when you're playing one of these games, like, yeah, the combat is really fun and cool and everything. And then also exploring the dungeon is interesting. But the best moments are usually when you get a moment for the characters to talk to each other.
Oh, yeah. That's all 18-year-old me wanted to do when playing D&D was just, can we just chat?
Right. So I think
We
this
just-
book is a little bit built around the idea of doing that. And if you're not someone who is a professional actor like Mr. Kerkovich or Mr. Ross Bryant or any of us, I'm an actor too. I was in the film Stuber. You can do this and really have a good foundation that you've built your character on, where you have tales to tell and secrets about your character and things to relate. There are also downtime activities, ways that you can earn money when you're not on an adventure, or there are really incredible ones like start a family and find a home. And then you can detail your family and your home and figure out how much money you bring home to your family after every adventure, and watch your children grow up. And then your role-playing game, I guess, becomes really wistful and sad at some point.
When they go off to college.
What do you do when your kid comes to you and goes, Dad, I'm going to be a dungeon adventurer just like you?
Oh,
You don't want this life.
my greatest fear. I adventured so that he wouldn't have to.
Yes,
Exactly.
son, I want you to be the dungeon, not the dungeon adventurer.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I realize you want to be a dungeon adventurer like your old man, but the economy that supports this line of work is just crumbling like sand all around
Yeah.
us.
Same.
It's really
Don't make
just
the
a
same
dying
choices I
industry.
made. Yeah.
I will say that as an actor who is oftentimes incredibly lazy, this sort of system of doing any kind of backstory work, I welcome, because I would never do that on my own. So this is
Okay,
wonderful.
there you go.
Yeah. This is all the hard work that I would never do to prepare for
Exactly.
an audition.
My actual career. At
Yes, yes, for the thing that would make my real life family money and prosperity. Can't be bothered.
Well, when it's a role-playing game, it's more fun. So there are downtime activities. There's also a patron. You can roll up a patron so that you get sort of like an organization that you work for, a person that you answer to. They have a personality. They have secrets. They have motivations. That adds another layer to your game. And then finally, there's even a chapter on retirement. What does it look like when your character retires? And having ended one or two campaigns, I wish I had done that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we did like brief epilogues, but what if you gave an entire session to retirement? This book will help you do that.
That's great.
Amazing.
This book is called A Life Well Lived. It's for sale right now. Go out and buy a copy. And right now we're going to create some Dungeons and Dragons 5e characters using the systems in A Life Well Lived. So I'm going to open my book up right now, and I'm going to go to Life Path. And I really love creating characters this way. So this randomizes a lot of elements about your character. If you wanted to go through this book and just choose the choices instead of rolling on the tables, you could do that, and it would give you a ton of inspiration. But I think a campaign that Ross and I did, we rolled classes, right? Yeah. So nobody knew what class they were going to be. This is going to add even more randomicity. Is that a word to the proceedings?
It is now.
Yeah.
So I would like for each of you to roll a D100, and we're going to find out what your lineage is. You might call your lineage your ancestry. You might call it your race if the year was 1981. Come on, get with the times.
This is interesting, too, because the lineage table, it's like Dragonborn is only a 1 through a 4, but humans are like 76 to 96.
Yeah,
so
Dragonborn are
it's a rarity.
It makes them rare and special.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I got the most average normal one, I guess, an 84. I am a human.
You are a human. Okay, great.
Okay.
All right. How what did you get, Ross Bryant?
We're doing a D100?
A D100, sir.
Okie dokie. I got a 67.
67 means you're a halfling.
Awesome.
Nice.
Matthew Capodicasa.
I got a 66. So I'm also a halfling.
Ooh, two halflings. This party they got an interesting makeup. And Rob, how'd you do?
I'm an elf.
An elf.
Cool.
Guys, we have the opportunity to do something really mainstream. Thoughts?
This could be the most cliche it's ever.
That's a challenge, right? We can complicate the cliche and make it something that no one has ever seen.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have
We
a
can
feeling with
introduce
these-
a note of what I like to call randomicity.
Yes. Yes, it's a
I
word
love that.
people use. It's a word people have heard.
Philip K. Dick's
all right.
randomicity.
Well, the randomicity of the lineage table has given us a human, two halflings, and an elf. I love that, and there's going to be so many more little wrinkles to the characters as we go on here. So let's go ahead and just talk about what it says here. For like the elf, it gives you sort of the basic features you get from your lineage. You get dark vision. You get a cantrip. You know, one wizard or druid spell cantrip of your choice. You get Fey Ancestry, which means advantage on saving throws against being charmed. A lot of this is in the Dungeons & Dragons 5e Player's Handbook, but they repeat it for you here just so you remember some of it. And I think their system might be a little different. It's a little bit, specific to A Life Well Lived. But halflings as well have, their little list of things that they get, like Lucky. I believe this is something from our Player's Handbook as well. When you roll a 1 on an attack roll, attribute check, or saving throw, you can re-roll the die. You must use the new result. Actually, that might be specific to A Life Well Lived.
I know that lucky exists in 5e, but it might be a feat.
I think it's a feat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It exists in
curious.
Pathfinder as well, but it doesn't function like this.
It's different.
I would say this is a little bit.
Yeah, lucky in
pretty
5e
powerful.
is you have 3 luck points. It's a feat you take.
Y'all, you gotta get this book because it makes your characters just like so OP and like mega tough and dangerous. Like, I would never normally let a halfling in my game with that kind of advantage, but
Your camp crafts are through the roof, bro.
Yeah, bro. I need a more energy drink. Okay,
oh no, it is. It's a halfling trait in 5e. It's the same one.
Oh, it's the same. Okay, great.
All right.
Yeah, and they're brave and nimble, and then humans get ambitious, so they get 2 different attribute scores increased by 1, and they are passionate. They gain proficiency in 1 skill of their choice. So make sure to mark down some of these things on your sheet just so you remember them. In particular, if they affect your attribute scores, Sydney, for example.
Yes, sir.
And then do as I say and don't question me. I'm definitely feeling my oats as a game master right now. Okay, so now we come to the actual real life path here, and we're going to roll our temperament. And our temperament actually means what sign your character was born under.
Okay.
What star sign. And they're very interesting, specific to this book, star signs. And they kind of give you a little idea of maybe how you might want to play your personality to some extent. So everybody give me a D12 roll.
This is I'm looking at it right now, Jared. This is so cool because not only is it its own, verbiage and, their astrological world in this game, but they also kind of give you a piece of real, astrology to just kind of compare it to, which is helpful for those who like astrology, like me.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So if you, for example, if you roll the unicorn, they tell you that also could be known as Cancer, the sign Cancer. So
do
great.
Do we also get to know our fantasy Myers-Briggs?
That'd be sweet.
Yes, you do.
That would be fun.
Yeah, you're an extroverted. What is the?
Yeah,
Myers-Briggs?
I'm a thinking, judging.
Hippogriff.
Yeah, right.
Hippogriff. Yeah, that's
More
how
of
it
an
works in the
Enneagram
fantasy.
man myself
Introverted, intuitive.
All right. So
Thinking,
how'd
perceiving.
everybody do on their D12 rolls? Sydney, what'd you get?
I got a 7, which is the Sphinx.
Ooh, the Sphinx. The mighty Sphinx, cunning riddle maker, vigilant guardian, and diviner of truth marked your birth. You get +1 charisma, and if you're looking for a earthly star sign that it would be the equivalent to, it's Libra. Or did you say
I believe
Libra?
that's pronounced Libra, Jared.
Libra.
Oh my god.
As a Libra,
Are you a Libra?
Don't make
I am.
fun of me.
Yeah.
Just because I
As a Libra, I could go
don't
either
know
way.
how to. I was raised in West Virginia. I don't know how to pronounce things. Okay. Moving on. How did you do, my friend Ross Bryant?
I got the I got the Pegasus.
The
Pretty cool.
Pegasus. Ooh, that's
also known as
cool.
the Compass, or a more star sign, Sagittarius. Adventurous and irresponsible. That's a fun thing to know. And it's also a +1 charisma bonus.
Okay, great. Yeah. Your sign is that of the Pegasus, whose wings carry it free of the bonds that bind so many creatures. I mean, these are cool, flavorful little descriptions.
They really are.
And it's cool to get your attributes from your star sign. How'd you do, Matthew? What'd you roll?
I rolled a unicorn.
You are the unicorn.
These halflings, man.
I am caring
Twins?
and overprotective.
Yes.
Could be, yeah.
And I get +1 wisdom. I am passionate, and there is little I wouldn't sacrifice for who or what I love.
Oh,
So I'd say I just have the makings of a true hero.
it sounds like more in-game romance is in store for you, Matthew. Very good. We can see Matthew add some other things. So Cubicle 7 also gave us these beautiful character sheets that you can fill in that have spaces for all of these things that we're talking about. So your character sheet completely covers just about everything. The further pages cover other parts of this life path that we're going to get into. Rob Kerkovich, what'd you roll on the temperament table?
I got the Chimera, which is also
The
known as
Chimera.
Yeah. or the Chimera, as you would say.
God damn you.
Look. So the Capricorn, a beast of many aspects. The Chimera heralded my birth, as we know. I know how to adapt to what the situation calls for, naturally cautious of hidden hazards, and my trust is hard won and easily lost. So obviously that equals a +1 in wisdom, which makes a ton of sense. And what is this, like replacing some other process in the normal quote unquote 5e thing, or is this just an additional bonus we get?
When you have created your character totally according to the rules of a life well lived, you will have a character that is legal, canonically legal for a 5e character.
Cool.
In
It's
terms
just different
of
ways to like justify
stat bonuses. Yeah.
the stat bonuses. That's awesome. Okay.
I love
In
that.
fact, when we get to class,
cool.
I think you just choose class so that you can take advantage of the bonuses you've
that's
already
smart.
been given.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Sydney and I play Traveler it's one maybe my favorite game, and that it feels like there's a lot of kinship here, so I'm very into this.
Yes.
Yeah, Matthew and I love Traveler because everything is table, and you basically also go through a life almost. Like you can choose to age and age and age, and you get further in your career, but you
cool.
run the risk of like injury or not advancing your career, and you get fired or something. I don't know. It's really fun. It's
You
all
can
over
die
the place.
during
die
character
in the-
creation, right?
Yeah, not in the new edition, no, but like you can run a version where you can. Yeah,
I think Alicia Marie died once or got a horrible injury, and it was very
horribly
funny.
maimed.
Yeah, it was a great time had by all.
Well, I think that's super fun, and this has some of those kind of wrinkles are coming up here. There are downsides to your life as well as upsides. So we'll find those out in a minute. But right now we're gonna find out about your parents. Everybody roll D100 to see if you were raised by people of the same lineage or different lineage.
Huh. Interesting.
So if anybody just let me know if you've gotten an 81 to 100. That's the only difference. There's a small chance of being raised by people of a different lineage.
I got an 81.
Wow.
There you go. So your halfling was raised by people of a different lineage. So roll on the lineage table again to find out who they were. Roll D100 again.
Interesting.
69, halfling.
Okay, roll it again because they have to be different.
Okay. They're from a neighboring shire.
Yeah.
Okay, 5, dwarf.
Oh, dwarves raised you. You were raised by dwarves.
Practically giants.
Wow.
Yes.
A dwarf raised halfling.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What does it mean?
Yeah, why did that happen?
Yeah.
I used this system myself. Maybe I'll tell you about the character that came out of it for me in a little bit, because it wasn't the type of character I would normally make, but I was kind of into the storyline that had kind of already emerged.
The emergent storytelling is so fun.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, so let's see how prosperous your family was, everybody. Roll a D100.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
All right. How'd you do? Tell me what you scored.
We had enough to be comfortable.
Great. So you
Yes.
rolled a 61 to 94, enough
Yeah, I
to
got
be
an 82.
comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah. Did anybody roll something other than that?
I got
I rolled.
enough to get by.
Enough to get by. Okay.
I rolled a 1.
Whoa.
You were raised by dwarves in
Yeah.
poverty?
Like impoverished
Dwarves, struggling
Wow.
dwarves.
Just the irony of it all.
Wow. What if there's a situation where like something would develop where dwarves had to like leave their home and sort of wander
Maybe I was, like,
around?
There was
Yeah.
like a foundling on the way. Like their mountain citadel was destroyed
or something.
Yeah.
Taken over by a
Rock
giant
slide,
red
yeah.
dragon.
Yeah,
That
for
sounds right.
example.
Maybe some of these further things will kind of enlighten us as to what happened there. But right now, let's find out how these people raised you. Please roll a D4, each of you.
This is so deep. This is like
Oh,
therapy.
This is awesome.
This is
D4?
therapy. Yes.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to talk about something that they've been carrying around with them,
If anyone wants to talk about their parents and their
yes.
upbringing,
Yeah. Roll
bring it
for
to the table.
roll for your parents' attachment style. Oh, no. Avoidant. Oh no.
oh no.
Oh,
All right, I was raised with strict discipline,
ooh,
which I kind of like, and maybe this leans into my Libra star sign. There's so much floating around right now.
Yeah.
My impoverished dwarven parents raised me with love and care.
okay,
Aww.
that's
And my
sweet.
and my solidly middle class halfling parents also raised me with love and care.
Okay, yeah.
my semi-wealthy family raised me with little attention.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Elves.
This is starting to go to a place I don't know if I want to go.
Why do I feel like elves would be kind of aloof parents?
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're like, you live forever.
Yeah. We'll get to know you in a couple hundred years.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see how big your family was. Roll a d4 again.
Oh.
Okay, what'd you roll?
I got a 4.
You have an extended family of 2d6 plus 2 people.
So now I roll 2d6?
Plus 2, yep.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
8 children.
Yeah, 8 children. No wonder they needed strict discipline.
Sydney,
Wow.
I rolled the same exact thing.
No way. Are
Yep.
we siblings?
8 kids.
I rolled extended, but I only rolled for 6 people.
Whoa.
Okay, yeah.
I also rolled extended family of 10. So
Oh my
Whoa.
god.
I'm seeing like how they describe like the Brandy Buck Manor in The Hobbit, where it's just like a warren of tunnels, and they're all the
Yeah.
cousins are hanging out
Oh
there.
my gosh.
I mean, this could explain why, because I can see now how it helps inform your character, but it also helps inform almost like it can inform party dynamics,
Yeah.
where if so many of us in the party were part of these massive families, then maybe we find solace in just 3 other people around. Or there's something like comforting about that.
I also
Right.
realize it says family size. So they could be your parents, they
Yeah.
could be your siblings,
Yeah,
they could
yeah.
be your uncle,
Yeah,
it could
you
be
just-
whoever lives with you. That's
Or
kinda
like
fun.
in Matthew's character case, they could be his refugee group.
Yes,
his
Yeah.
chosen family.
Honestly.
Yeah.
his hardscrabble dwarves.
So now I think maybe even though with a large family you might roll on this next table called family bonds 4 times, I think just to keep it moving here, why doesn't everybody roll on this table twice, and then we'll talk about some of your family members. They could be your just like Sydney was just saying, could be a cousin, could be a parent, could be a brother or sister. So roll and see what you get there. You're gonna roll on it twice, and it's a d20. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Oh, so these are about our family members, not necessarily us. Got it.
Not
Okay.
you. These are about family members that you have. Yeah.
Wow.
And they also kind of all act as hooks,
Yeah,
hooks
this is-
for an adventure or
Oh,
something.
cool.
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
What are we seeing? What are
Okay.
you getting?
So, I rolled an 11. So this large and extended halfling family is heavily involved in the wider community, perhaps in a leadership role. Sometimes their actions reflect upon you, for better or for worse. So maybe there's maybe mom or an aunt is like a top lady in the village, running things, a fixer that people come to. And 19, this is interesting, wistful. They never achieve their dreams, or they desire more than their lot in life. Though they still make hopeful preparations to achieve their goals, they hope you will accomplish it on their behalf.
It's cool motivation.
Ooh, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So they're at the top of their community, but they're still not at they still haven't achieved what they want.
Yeah, interesting. Or it sounds like someone in the family, a parent figure, is a striver who just hit a ceiling or had dreams they couldn't fulfill. And that's
Yeah.
being put on my small but stout shoulders.
You can't go any farther here in Hobbit Town.
Have to go on the wide road
Yeah.
out to town.
Go on the road, find riches.
Dear, oh dear.
Very good. What did everybody else come up with?
I had an interesting kind of polar opposite thing, which is helping to inform some things. I got one family member who's carrying on the family trade, so clearly
Okay.
very dedicated to the family name, I would think. And then I got another one that's estranged from the family. And so now, and then if I think about how I was paid little attention to, I feel like that nestles me right as the middle child.
Yeah.
And so, as an only child, this will be the greatest role of my life. Because I don't understand how that dynamic works at all. But I would imagine just sort of stuck in the middle between these two opposite ends is very interesting.
I mean, that is a good point. It's interesting to play that. And I think sometimes you don't get a chance to play it in a role-playing game, but I gotta say that if you use this book, your GM has to be on board, giving you opportunities because I don't even know what that dynamic is like, but it would be fascinating to explore it. I'm like an older brother, so I know what the 2-kid, older, younger vibe is like, but I don't know. And then also to have an estranged family member, that's interesting too. Matthew, what did you roll?
I rolled a 17 for traditional. So maybe even though we're dwarves on the run and me a halfling, they're still
dwarves on the run.
Yeah, exactly. But they're following customs, religions, crafts, or an occupation handed down from generation to generation, and they do not like to change, which feels like that would make for some tension.
Yeah.
And then I also
Keep it to the
rolled
old
16 secretive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Ooh.
the origins of my provenance is being kept secret.
Parentage. There are 10 people in my extended family, but there's evidence of one more.
My long lost brother?
Yeah. Go ahead, Sydney. Yeah.
I rolled kind of similar to Rob in a way. First, I rolled a 5, which was cursed. Some dread magic, ill luck, or unnatural transformation has its grip on them. Perhaps they found a way to manage their condition, or maybe it threatens to consume them and their loved ones. And I was like, yeesh. Then I rolled building a family of their own. They don't have as much time for you as they once did, but they always seem happy to see you. And I wonder, maybe it's a similar situation where part of the family split off because of this curse, and maybe I'm left with my strict upbringing and my sort of inclination to help people and want to see the best in people. I'm living with this elderly, grandparent or father or mother, and I have to help them with this curse. And the other family is like, yikes, you take care of that. We'll see you at Christmas.
Oh yeah, like the character who's left home to care for an ailing mother while the sibling goes out and achieves their dreams or whatever.
And I try to repress my resentment for the ailing mother, but man, it's growing every day.
Yeah, except in this case, the ailing isn't ailing; it's a magical curse.
It's a demon.
It's dread magic.
Yeah.
What if you had to take care of your mother, but your mother was a vampire?
Right.
Oh, help! My mom's a vampire. That was my favorite Disney movie. It wasn't. It was not a Disney movie.
There was My Stepmother's an Alien.
Oh,
Could be a
that's
similar.
true. Oh, and it was My Babysitter's a Vampire. Actually, that was a movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
just
was
imagining
Mars Needs Moms. Mars needed moms at one
Mars does need
point.
moms.
We can just find
I'm just
a way
imagining
to-
little Sydney's character with a tray of pills and things, opening a door, and mom is not in bed but is instead on the ceiling, just
Yeah, up in the corner.
Yeah,
Mama, take the pills, Mama.
It's about to eat, about to drink, feed off the family dog.
The cat, the family dog. Scruffles, no, Mama, drop it.
Take your
So hard.
anti-vampire pills. Perfect. So, and again, you saw that some of this can be interpreted for a single family member, but also you can kind of interpret it, some of them for the family in general. Maybe all of the dwarves that raised Matthew's character are traditional. It makes sense. All right, now we are getting into early childhood, and we're gonna find out what environment you kind of grew up in. So please, and some of these results are pretty wild. Please roll a D10.
Okay.
just looking at this table, I'm like, wowzers.
Yeah.
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 This makes sense.
Okay, that's cool. Hey.
Oh no! What did you roll, Matthew? What are you giggling about?
I rolled extra planar.
Insane. That's the
Come
one.
on.
That's the one that was dangling there
Impoverished dwarves who were very traditional and secretive traveled the planes, or they lived with you on another plane.
Maybe they
They
did
found
something.
you.
Passed out to another plane.
Exactly. They did something that caused them to fall through a rending in the fabric of reality.
You're from a different game system.
Yeah, you have a gun arm and a little laser scope on your.
Bionic,
I mean-
like a bionic arm.
Yeah.
When you get into stuff like Planescape, stuff like that kind of does exist. So it sort of does open your characters for your character, Matthew, for like a lot of weirdness if you wanted to put any in.
That's very cool.
What else did people roll?
I got big cities, which I think makes perfect sense for what's happening over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got mountainous region. So,
Okay, mountainous region. Okay.
My halfling family lives down in the holler, like between two high mountains.
Oh shit! There's another table for each of these things that we're listing off right now.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you're gonna
whoa.
get a childhood experience.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah.
I grew up in an isolated community, which may or may not have to do with the curse family mayhaps.
Yeah, totally. All right, let's do this. So let's find out. It's now going to tell you one thing that happened to you in this environment, okay? So big cities is first. So Rob, why don't you roll a d6 on this big cities table?
Okay, I was raised in a community that tended a garden in the heart of the city, where you learned patience and intuition. Your wisdom score increases by 1. My wisdom score had already increased by 1 because of my sign.
Cool.
Whoa,
So
you're
I got
so
a +2 right
wise.
now.
Yeah.
You're such a wise little 5-year-old.
You know, when you're the middle kid, you do a lot of observing.
So true.
you're just
As a middle
left to your-
kid, you're
yep.
so right. Keep saying
Oh,
positive
I am?
things.
Oh, great. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And it also makes so much sense that elves would tend a garden in the middle of the city.
Yes,
Like-
so that's true. That's great, yeah.
Super
Connection to nature.
elvish.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, let's get Matthew's crazy extra planar
Here we go.
childhood experience.
Okay. Okay. You had a loyal Pegasus in the upper plains who only
my-
allowed you to ride it. You learn to intuit its emotions through body language alone. Your wisdom score increases by 1, and my wisdom score had already gone up because of my sign, my temperament.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Pegasus, my sign. We're drawing ever closer.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Interesting.
There's connections there. There's
That was
connections.
Ross's character in another plane.
Maybe
Also-
maybe whether or not we're actually long lost siblings,
Mm-hmm.
we'll leave that to be determined. But maybe
Yes.
my character believes that we are.
Yes, yeah.
This is a connection point.
Well,
It's very
I want to know
tempting.
what happened to your loyal Pegasus. It sounds like there's been a lot of sadness in your life, and what happened to it?
You know, maybe Pegasi, sometimes they move on. Sometimes they
Oh.
Yeah.
can't be with the same Pegasus forever.
If you love a Pegasus, you got to let it free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's find out
Fly.
about Sydney's isolated community.
Okie dokie. All right, I got. With little access to medical professionals, you faced the pain of scrapes, breaks, and illness without relief. Your constitution score increases by 1.
Yeah.
I'm
Weird.
a hardy little kid.
Also, no medical expert to deal with your mother's crippling vampirism.
Ah, that's why. If only
You
we
were
had a
prescribing-
doctor.
Yes.
Prescribing the anti-vampire pills yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like Sydney was raised in a haunted house deep in the
Yeah.
woods or something.
I'm starting to think it wasn't an isolated community. It was just a haunted house,
Yes.
and I was locked inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were isolated from the community.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and then mountainous region is right below that. So let's roll on the mountainous region table.
I rolled a sick natural 1. So that means the steep slopes of your mountain town fostered strong legs and lungs. And as you grew, your parents refused to carry your weight. Your strength score increases by 1. So I'm
Okay.
Makes sense.
I'm
There
a
were 10 of you.
hardy mountain lad.
Just a unit of a halfling.
Yeah, I'm a stacked little halfling.
Yeah. And that is a children's book that I'm going to write, The Stacked Little Halfling.
I would read it.
High on a hill was a stacked little halfling.
That
Yeah,
sounds like
there's
a
a-
book Kate would read.
There's a
Yeah.
song to go with it. So now we're into adolescence. And it gives you your adolescence gives you a skill training. So everybody can roll on the adolescent experiences table, and that is a D100.
Oh, this is cool.
This is rad.
Oh,
These are
I actually
very
got-
cool.
I like mine.
Okay.
Actually, I want to call out this book. was written by Emmett Byrne, Alex Cahill, Josh Corcoran, Hannah Littall Goldfinch, Eleanor Hingley. There's a lot of people, but I want to call them all out. Dominic McDowell, forgive me if I mispronounced your name, Padraig Murphy, Ross Parkinson, Samuel Poots, and Ryan Wielden. And boy, there's just like so many good ideas in this. Okay.
Yeah.
How did everybody do on their adolescent experiences? Let's start with Matthew said he likes his. What did you get?
I rolled a 95, so I got, when an early relationship ended badly, you learn to avoid notice at all costs to prevent awkwardness and embarrassment. And maybe, I'm thinking, this was the schism with my Pegasus.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So I get a bonus, I get stealth is the skill I get.
Training and
sweet.
stealth, yeah. Okay, great. How did you do, Ross Bryant? What'd you roll?
This is a fascinating one. I rolled a 25. You shifted the blame for a big mistake onto someone else, and they suffered grave consequences because of your lie. That's associated with the skill of deception. That is so wild, because up till now, this little halfling has been so wholesome and hearty. But yeah, we've got an overbearing, overachieving parent or parent figure, and someone who's trying to make their kid be the best, better indeed than they were. So if you've done something terrible and you're so terrified by that you make someone else take the fall, and you're at the same time drunk with your own power being able to do that, but also carrying the guilt of that. Oh my God, what am I capable of?
Yeah. You might be the person in the party where you're not quite sure if they're going to do the right thing all the time,
He's got high charisma, and so it's like, I think it's that thing of like charming, but sometimes you're like, what's behind those eyes?
Yeah.
Screwing with me?
Yeah. I love that. Okay, and then who else has to go? Rob, I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, I rolled that a group of bandits took me prisoner, and I had to fast talk my way out of it, turning them against each other so I could escape.
Wow! You did that?
I totally did that. You know why? Because my parents didn't even realize I was gone. So maybe at a certain point, I was like, no one's coming to get me. Like, this is on me now. So I get persuasion.
Very cool. And you did that as an adolescent.
Yeah.
There's a YA novel just about that.
Yep.
All right.
I rolled the same thing as Rob.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
This will give us something to bond over.
Were they the same bandits?
I know. I wonder if they were a roving group of bandits who scooped us up on the wrong
Like a Fagin kind of guys trying to recruit
Maybe that's the
child
first time
thieves.
you met.
Maybe
that's the first time you met Rob's
and I
character.
escaped. I was
Yes.
able to escape my haunted house. They were going to rob the house, and then they were like, absolutely not. This place is super haunted. Let's just take this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the wagon, and I just persuaded them. And I was like, guys, you don't even want me. I suck. I'm super not important. Totally not main character. And they were like, get out of the wagon. And they kicked me and Rob out.
Yeah, I love it. I think that you guys met when you were kids. That's really cool.
That's
I
cool.
love it. And we do a blood bond immediately because
Yeah.
that's what kids do. We cut our hands.
And we'll
and
find out what
spit.
happened after that
Yeah.
through various roll tables.
I don't know anything about medicine, as you can remember.
Right.
Cut, spit, shake.
All right, now we are on to your life lesson. During your lifetime, you were faced with an important decision, the outcome of which shaped your view of the world and of yourself. Roll once on the table below. Ponder the decisions you faced and how much they impacted your life. You gain an attribute point depending on your decision. So after you've rolled on this table by rolling a d12, you're going to find the entry, and then you're going to choose one of the choices below that entry, and it'll affect what
cool.
attribute bonus you get. So again, this is a little bit more, you get a little bit more agency here to start really molding where those attribute bonuses go.
Cool. Ooh.
Here's some life lessons, everybody. How'd you do there, Ross? What'd you roll?
I rolled magical phenomenon. Someone close to you was affected by a magical phenomenon, changing them forever. And then the choices I'm presented with are: try to understand the arcane event, giving you a +1 to intelligence, tell anyone who would listen about this magical transformation, +1 charisma, or try to support the victim during this difficult time, +1 wisdom. Interesting. As this little halfling McIval is coming into focus, this sounds like he would tell anyone who would listen about this magical transformation.
Yeah. And also boost that charisma up to what, +3 at this point?
I think +2 now.
Okay, +2. But still, it's getting stronger. The charisma's looking like the main stat here, which would make him a good candidate for certain types of rogues, a paladin, a bard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep that in mind as we
Let's
go forward.
Let's not forget, he's a unit.
And he's a stacked unit with +1 strength.
Right.
That's right. Okay, Matthew, what did you roll?
I rolled an 8 for natural disaster.
Ooh, well, your
community suffered
characters
a
just had the
natural
best
disaster.
luck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And our extraplanar dwarven refugee camp.
The passion of this
Whose
halfling.
Pegasus broke up with him.
Yeah.
Pegasus broke up with me.
Yeah.
So my options are just I could seek shelter as quickly and safely as I could, which would give me a +1 to Dex. Help others who are trapped or in danger, which give me a +1 in Constitution, or devise solutions to prevent further destruction with +1 to Intelligence. I think I'm metagaming this a little bit, but because I was raised by dwarves, and I think perhaps that's what I idolize. I wanted to have their hardy family hardiness and family bonds and the kind of the clan mentality, clan of the sea. I'm gonna go with help others who are trapped or in danger and get +1 con.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. You're a hero. You know, these guys are also maybe starting to look like heroes. They're outsmarting bandits. They're helping people trapped in an extraplanar natural disaster. Rob, what did you roll?
This is interesting because I want to hear Sydney's take on this. Because I rolled haunted house.
Ooh.
It's me!
A friend claimed an evil spirit haunted their home, though no one believed them.
Did you help me? What did you do?
So, okay, these are the options. Spend long nights by their side watching for the entity. Sneak into this is kind of my personal favorite. I don't necessarily know if this is what the character... Sneak into the homes of doubters pretending to be a ghost. Just to fuck with them. Or consult a wizard or cleric on the best way to deal with malign spirits. Now, if Sydney's going with this thing where her mother had some sort of cursed thing, maybe no one is either believing her, and maybe this whole kidnapping thing, maybe I never even go back home. Maybe
We just hang out. You just
maybe
come
I
over
just stick by Sydney's side.
my haunted house.
And you tell me about the deal at your house, and I'm like, I believe you.
I'm like, yeah, we're best friends now. Listen, my house is really messed up. We
Yeah.
can go back there, but it's like super bad.
Yeah, so I think I do that. I think I spend the long nights by their side watching for the entity, and that, we can kind of like tweak that to be the entity you already knew existed. But that's a
That's
+1
so
to con.
sweet.
I'm not even looking at what this is great because I'm not even looking at a lot of times you create characters like I gotta power game the hell out of this, and you're trying to look at these stats, and like with this it's just like this is the flavor I like. I'm just gonna give him +1 con. I have no idea if that balances anything out, but
Yeah, you know what? I also want to say, I would love to play a game one day where people just kind of took the things as they came, as they were rolled, even if it was like super non-optimal characters, and just saw how it worked out. You know?
Yeah.
It probably would be like, I missed another roll. I hate this. But it could also be super fun. I would like to try it. Okay, Sydney, what did you roll?
I rolled Blaze. Walking home one night, you found a neighbor's home aflame, and as they could only watch. Did you try to save them? Did you console them? Or did you work all night to douse the flames with them? I don't know. I haven't proven to be like strong in any way yet, but maybe this was the moment. Like maybe this was the call to action. And she had her new best friend by her side, and she was just like, we gotta save the people. We have to help them. So maybe she ran in to try to save as much as possible from the fire.
All right, great. That gives you +1 strength. And it's interesting because you might be from like the weird shunned house way out in the wilderness. So your neighbors probably are like, oh, those weird people. But then when you saw that there was a blaze, you ran into the house to save their things. So that's pretty wild. That's a pretty interesting little twist to the stories.
Some clear values.
Yeah.
Unshaken by the ostracization of the community.
But who knows what can happen? They might turn on me again.
Right.
There's more life to live. Wink.
I like how much heroism is kind of featured in this book. You know, it really does kind of lean into being heroes, being good guys, and I think that's
and it's a slow progression, right? Like it's the beginning of it is just sort of these innocuous, like, what's the size of your family?
Right.
Who are your family members? And then as you're getting older, they start adding in some elements that are undeniably heroic or bigger or like, larger than life or just testing you, which is great.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the tables are kind of a story. I mean, obviously, but I don't know. Okay, right, here we go. A defining event in your life, a pivotal moment. At one stage in your life, something happened that set you on a path to your future. An inciting incident that defined who you were for years to come. Roll on the defining event table to discover that event and learn which occupations are open to you as a result.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool.
These events grant you one proficiency and one item, as described within each event.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
I want to hear I don't even want to roll yet. I want to hear what people roll before I roll. Oh, what did you get, Rob? What did you get?
I got dangerous monster.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. Let's look at dangerous monster.
Okay.
When a deadly creature threatened your settlement, the haunted house, life became tense and dangerous. The deadly creature could be Sydney's mom.
Yeah.
Your settlement dedicated all their resources towards stopping the monster before it caused more death and destruction, and they needed every pair of hands to combat this threat. You lent your aid as an apothecary, blacksmith, or sailor alongside many of your friends, family, and neighbors. The danger to your community was so great that every citizen was taught how to stop the monster before it could reach the settlement. You gained proficiency in either short bows, long bows, or nets.
Finally, proficiency in nets.
Alternatively,
I think we killed my mom.
You learn the tongue of the enemy to understand them better. So, or instead of a weapon, you could learn the tongue of the enemy and know abyssal, deep speech, giant, goblin, infernal, or primordial.
Okay. Can I hold my action? Can I wait? Because I don't want to hijack it. I don't want to hijack anything from Sydney's life. So
yeah, sure.
I want to see what she gets, and if it doesn't feel right, then she and I can part ways. I can deal with a fucking beholder or something, and then come back and reunite.
That's great. We'll come to Sydney in a little bit. We'll let it simmer for a second.
Yeah.
Ross, what'd you roll?
I rolled an interesting one. Privileged position. This halfling needs to check his privilege because he was blessed or cursed with a relatively mundane life, untouched by high drama or long periods of danger. And that is borne out kind of in our roles. Where I feel like I'm not necessarily slamming into monsters here and there, although I did experience a magical phenomenon at some point. In any case, this mundanity bred ambition and wanderlust in you, a quiet life unfit for a future adventurer. And one especially so have got an overbearing parental figure breathing down my neck. You may choose any occupation of your choice, as you are granted the privileged position of deciding your own fate. You start work on the same day as a dwarf who becomes your very close friend. They chose to settle down after a life of adventuring, regaling you with tales of their journeys. They taught you a few tricks, granting you proficiency in cartographer's tools or warhammers, or teaching you dwarvish. They imparted a hand-drawn map of their travels, hoping you'd avoid the dangers they faced in the past. Alternatively, you may have moved to a new settlement experiencing their own drama and can choose one defining event following that story as if you rolled it.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, that is privilege.
That's cool.
That's a lot.
And you know what you could do, and you would not have to do this at all, but you could choose someone else's and be like, oh, I was there for that.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
very cool.
Sweet.
Like Rob's monster attack, Ross's character could have been there as well.
Yeah, that's a cool
But not
idea.
necessarily. You could also just go back to the list and just choose a different one because that's one that looks cool to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
or I thought I heard it as like he can lie. Maybe that's just because I've got his deception thing hanging over my head from a couple rolls ago. But it's like you said that you were at this person's. You basically co-op somebody else's thing, but you were never there.
Well, I
identity
don't think
thief.
that's what the book means, but I like
Oh
it.
shit. Okay. All right.
That
Fine,
is
fair enough.
interesting.
No,
Yeah. Just so basically, I just kind of get to pick a defining event of my own.
yeah.
cool.
Or you can go with your work friend, the dwarf.
Right. That is funny that's an option.
I
Yeah,
guess
that's so
you guys
funny.
were at Jamba Juice, I guess. I don't know where you were.
Yeah. Cool. I'll hear some the others before I go.
Very good. Matthew, what did you roll?
I rolled garrison duty.
Oh, man. This poor little halfling guy, I think he's got like the roughest life. That
He's
sounds
living
like
through like a Lars von Trier's movie, just
I know.
suffering at every turn.
It's so sad.
It's so relentlessly sad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A usually distant skirmish encroached upon your settlement, drafting you into their battle despite your allegiances or involvement. As soldiers took shelter in your homes and buildings, you were expected to provide for them and assist them where needed. So the battle moved on. Eventually, you were left with a slew of applicable skills. One soldier confided in you about his fears, telling you about his children waiting for him back home. Concerned about his survival, he rigorously maintained his armor, explaining the importance of defense in a prolonged battle. You gained proficiency with leatherworker's tools or smith's tools. He gave you a sketch of his young children, asking you to find them one day and pass it on to them.
Jeez.
Oh,
So
wow.
the way I'm thinking about it is that maybe we're like this kind of contingent of dwarves was cast into this other dimension where it's like war torn and infested with monsters, and it was like a really hard scrabble existence. And for whatever reason, they found a halfling and raised me as their own. But then, like, eventually, like the crusaders came, like the paladins came to fight the monsters and kind of quarter themselves in our little encampment. And I had to service their knights and make their shoes. So I can become a cobbler because
Nice.
of this.
Yeah, you have a choice of cobbler, sailmaker, or tanner. You're going to go cobbler.
I'm gonna go cobbler. I think sailmaker doesn't quite fit my image of this war-torn, extra-dimensional, nightmare.
Hellscape. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tanner might be fun, but I like the idea of a halfling cobbler. It sounds
Yeah, halflings
Yeah.
making shoes.
Struggling with these
They don't-
gigantic footwear.
making
Yeah.
shoes for like knights and
And we
Yeah.
know that, and you don't have to choose it this second, Rob, but we know that your character can be an apothecary.
I'm definitely going to go with apothecary because of the whole like having worked on in the city greenery areas, like the forests.
yeah.
I think that informs.
You know
that
some
choice.
non-traditional medicine.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, Sydney, what'd you roll?
I rolled Divine Project.
Whoa.
A prophet began construction of a great temple in your settlement. This is awesome. I imagine
I wonder why.
I know. I imagine my vampire mom became too much, and the other half of my family that ended up dipping, they were like, we have to solve this problem. So in came this sort of obscure prophet. They're dedicated to a relatively obscure maritime deity, but there seemed to be no end to their coin. Construction required many hands, and you learned a trade as a fresco painter, a scribe, or a sculptor. Basically, you get to know this prophet who is a shipwrecked sailor. He teaches you much, and at the time, you have the favor of higher power. You gain proficiency with either tridents, nets, or the celestial language. He also gifts you a cracked compass that spins wildly in a rain shower, claiming it helped him while out at sea. He seems awesome. So
Yeah.
I think they did not solve the problem with my vampire mom, but I think it gave everybody a lot of hope, and it gave me a lot of hope. And I became a sculptor, and I started making these really avant-garde sculptures from like the silty clay sand nearby where he set this temple up. And I was like, this is gonna make a difference. We're gonna solve this problem of like monsters. And I learned the celestial language. I think that's really fun and weird, and possibly useless, but I kind of love it.
Yeah, so it is kind of cool that we were talking about vampires and dark curses, and then, it makes so much sense that someone, when they're finally coming into their adulthood, if they've lived like that, would be like, I'm gonna go work at the church, I'm gonna become someone who maybe you're not religious, but you like the church because it's against everything all the terrible stuff you grew up with. So I think that's so interesting. Okay,
I'm rebelling by going to church,
Yeah.
said no teenager ever.
Wait, have you seen The Americans?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I
There's a
mean,
bunch of church rebellion in that one.
I like that.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so Rob, having heard everybody, Sydney's situation, did you kill her mom as as an angry mob?
I feel like that's not necessarily my story to tell, but if Sydney's cool with it, I do think it's kind of interesting that this temple's erected, people are feeling okay about things, and then suddenly her mother levels up and bursts out of the house and escapes, and now everyone has to now she's terrorizing the town full bore.
Yeah.
Defiling this temple or whatever the hell. There's a brief moment of peace and happiness, and it's not gonna stand, man. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to kill her mother, or be a part of the angry mob.
I love
What's funny-
role-playing conversations where we're like, do you mind if my character kills your mother?
Is that cool?
Yeah. Yeah.
Safe space. I think
Yeah.
it's fun too that clearly an angry mob got together and finally, killed my mother. But I was like, I did it. The church. We did it.
Yes.
And
Oh my
everyone at the
God,
church is
yes.
high-fiving. Yes.
Meanwhile,
Awesome.
flames in the
We're
horizon.
just stabbing her. And I'm like, with prayer, we did it.
Yeah. So because of that, I get to choose a weapon too. I'm gonna go with longbow.
Okay. Yeah, and it was either the weapon or it was a proficiency in another language. I think it makes sense because, being able to shoot a longbow is cool, and you're an elf.
And I'm an elf. That's kind of what I was picking.
Come
It was
on.
just like the iconic.
Yeah, and it also sounds like, based on the story that we're kind of concocting, Sydney's mom probably knew how to speak, your language. So it's
Right.
not quite perfectly, it doesn't fit perfectly. All right, and so then I turn back to Ross Bryant. Ross, with your privileged position, are you going to take a part in someone else's story, or are you going to choose to have gone your own way here?
I'm going to go my own way. Own way. Yes.
And we're sued. And that's it.
As this character's coming more into focus, I've picked the Grand Festival. Your settlement hosted a grand festival that brought in crowds of pilgrims and or tourists to prepare for this momentous occasion. You were drafted into work cleaning up, preparing, or entertaining the masses, learning to work as a carpenter, exterminator, or musician. With so many new people around, you met with people from all over the world, all united and peaceful. For the duration of the festival, this cultural mix has broadened your horizons. You gain proficiency in painter supplies or a language or instrument of your choice. Additionally, you retained a musical instrument signed by some of those you met at the festival.
Hell yeah, dude.
So,
Just Fleetwood Mac signing
Yeah,
your
Fleetwood
lute.
Mac was there, man.
Yes, Lindsay Buckingham has signed my lute.
I mean, you could easily picture Stevie Nicks just with a floral garland in her hair.
She fits
yeah.
right
singing
in.
to
Right
Oh,
in.
yeah.
They would play a lute. They have lute on
yeah.
some of their songs,
sure.
I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks is wailing at the Halfling Festival. And so of course I'm taking musician as this character is coming into focus with the charisma and the sort of brawny charisma, the maybe slippery relationship with the truth, a sort of bardic vibe is coming into focus. So you are a musician known for entertaining performances in taverns, stages or street corners. Your musical talents would liven up the mood of any crowd. Your fame or infamy is widely recognized in your community. I get my instruments, the proficiency in performance. So
Perfect. And when
Love
we
that.
come back in just a second, we'll learn a little bit more about everybody else's occupation that they chose. Cobbler's right here. I gotta find out what cobbler gives you. So we'll be right back. This is A Life Well Lived, a new book from Cubicle 7. You can find it online at cubicle7games.com. Links in the description. We'll be right back with some more cool characterization with A Life Well Lived. See you in a minute. Hi, we're back. We are looking through Cubicle 7's book, A Life Well Lived. We're creating Dungeons & Dragons 5e characters with this book that gives you all kinds of amazing character options, character history, family backstory, defining events in the life of a character that you can build on during play. It gives you other things, too. There are downtime activities, camping activities, patrons, retirement plans, all kinds of great tools for your campaign. Right now we're in the heat of character creation. We just found out that Ross Bryant's character is a musician. I want to know who was a cobbler? Who ended up being that was Matthew, right?
My Jobsian dwarf.
Yes. is a simple cobbler. So you get proficiency. Get ready. This is pretty exciting.
Can't wait.
You get proficiency in cobbler's tools.
Noise.
Oh, jelly.
I'm seeing a class already.
Yeah. And you get a skill proficiency in insight.
What does that mean?
Insight, you're allowed to kind of discern whether people are lying. You're able to discern their mood, their relationships. It's basically empathy. Wow, I guess
It's a wisdom skill.
a shoemaker would kind of know a lot about you in a way, wouldn't
Wait, I'm sorry, Jared. I'm looking closer here, and it's actually in souls. In souls.
Oh.
Yeah. I see what you're doing. No, it's insight.
Also, Ross, the fact you didn't even make your facial expression didn't even change when you dropped that. It was just still stern.
That's the fun of dumb puns, is that you should deliver them with absolutely no pepper on them whatsoever.
I love it. Yeah, no, I take some notes here.
Yeah.
I imagine a customer walks into the cobbler smoking a cigarette and they're like, do you ever walk a mile in those things?
That's exactly
Other people's shoes?
That has to be exactly what the insight skill means.
Stop
You've
it.
walked a mile in other people's shoes.
I mean, jokes aside, like if you think about this particular guy, like having to cobble for this garrison of, ill-tempered and gross soldiers that just kind of foisted themselves on his community, like he probably is really, and he's already a little bit wise. I've already got +2 to wisdom. So he's probably intuiting. He can intuit a lot from the things they say, and he lets himself overhear a lot, because who would notice a halfling cobbler that just is kind of going around to help people, like knights with their boots?
Yeah, honestly, from a taller person's perspective, you just look down and it looks like a shoe is just floating around.
Right. You're the perfect height for shoes.
Can't see anything.
Carrying the shoe over.
Yep.
I'm looking at my income die of 1d4. Is that
Wait, did I not?
good?
That is not great. So I believe that, if you get into the system of downtime activities, you can work your job, you can work your occupation to earn funds, and your occupation as a cobbler earns you 1d4 in some way, which I don't know if you know, Matthew, is the lowest die.
I didn't. I was hoping there was like, yes, it's the lowest die, but no one starts higher than a d6.
No, who gets the highest? A caravan guard gets a d8. I'm just looking through here.
A musician gets a D8, which I just rolled.
Well.
Which I just rolled and got a 1.
That might not be exactly how it works. I mean, that might be like you got a 1 that week, like it might be something that you roll over and over. I'd have to look a little deeper into how occupations work.
That makes sense, because if you do it during a downtime, I assume you just roll that die, and it's like, was it a good night at the bar or a bad night?
Exactly. Okay, and so we know that our friend Rob's character is an apothecary.
Yep.
You get the proficiency in alchemist's supplies. Pretty cool. You get a skill proficiency in arcana. Very cool. And you get a D6 income die. So kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, well, I rolled a 6, so...
You're rich!
Yeah, and honestly, that I could also see that as being like money I just took from my parents. That maybe not necessarily what I made it as an apothecary.
The elven herbalist, ignored by his parents, kidnapped by bandits who met a friend with a haunted house, who ended up joining the mob that killed her vampire mother. And through all these adventures, learned how to mix chemicals.
Tale as old as time.
It's, it's the classic tale. All right, and Sydney, did you were a sculptor, I think you said, right?
I wanted to do sculptor, but then looking again at the options, I switched because I think it makes a little more sense, maybe story-wise for them down the line. I switched it to fresco painter.
That's so flavorful. I love fresco painter.
And you get...
Sounds delicious, too.
Yeah.
You get the skill proficiency is religion, and I was like, okay, that makes more sense. I think she was working with the church, and she's really invested now. And wowee, look at that! I also get a D8 as my income die.
Yes,
I'm rich.
No wonder you changed your mind.
And you are proficient in painter's supplies.
Yeah, and I think it's fun. It's like I paint all this religious iconography, and I'm painting like these ceilings at these different churches and stuff as I travel for coin. And I don't know, maybe I like paint on the side as a little side gig too. I do caricatures of people on the road.
Yeah, you're like the arty goth girl who...
She's weird. She talks about her dead mom a lot, and it's
Right.
like, sad.
You got kind of churchy at some point.
Yeah, I got super churchy.
My God, I know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's a lot of blowing your bangs out of your eyes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the point of the book. When you get done, you should know exactly who these people are. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I get a horse in my later life, then I'm complete, I think.
Yeah.
The circle is completed.
All right. So that's everybody's, defining event and their occupation. And now we're going to move on to their quirk. Everybody gets a quirk. Every one of us has a quirk, an aspect of our personality that makes us unique and memorable to others.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you don't have a quirk, Rob?
I'm quirkless. That's a genetic deficiency.
Is that a real thing? Did you roll nothing?
No. I was making a joke about myself, Sydney. It's
How sad?
I was
how
like-
sad would that be if there was something on the table that just said no quirk?
quirkless.
yes.
Unoriginal, quirkless loser.
Saltine cracker.
You're a banal L7.
Yes.
A lot of these quirks are not flattering to a character, and I do love the idea of a player coming into your game and being like, I want to be like the ultimate silent assassin, and then you're like, well, your quirk is clumsy, so
Dream dead.
yeah.
That's great.
It just
man.
makes a more interesting character, somebody who's more three-dimensional. Let's go ahead and roll and see what quirks we get. That's a D20 roll.
Oh,
My
God.
favorite one is number 20 here, Sound Sleeper.
If only.
How quirky.
Quirky.
You know what I always remember about Rob? He's a sound sleeper.
Man, what a gift. That's not a quirk.
Dare you.
All right, how did we do? Let's start with Rob. What'd you roll?
I got perfect pitch.
Great. I'm glad someone did.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know when I've got the mortar and pestle and I'm just making a thing.
You have
Just
advantage on any tests to reproduce these sounds through your voice or an instrument. You always recall a sound, song, or voice.
Wow.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
That's cool.
Oh, you could do like bird sounds.
Can I
or
do
like,
voices? Am I like
Yeah.
Frank Caliento or whatever his name? Caliente?
You are
Quick.
the Frank Caliendo of this game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Rob, give us one of your famous voices that you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh.
You know?
No, that
It's-
doesn't
I'm a-
sound
is
like
he
him at
sick?
all.
I'm a chameleon.
Is he sick? Oh no, Mr.
okay.
D'Onofrio's not well.
Let him go.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, God.
You know,
Wow.
it's pretty.
That
It's
is
almost the same if you've lived
spot.
from the same region.
Spot on. The inflection is just a slight
I'm just going to
difference.
start adding that to all of my impressions, which are uniformly terrible. It's like, no. This is Al Pacino with a cold.
Right.
Yeah.
He's really sick. He's dying.
Hey, I'm Timothy Chalamet over here.
I'm dying.
but I'm sick.
I'm not. Oh, I got such a virus.
I thought we were going to ask
I
Rob.
can't button any of my shirts.
I thought we were going to ask Rob to sing since it's perfect pitch. It
No,
says
that's the difference here
you can
between
always
the character
recall a
and-
song, it says.
Great.
Are you sure you don't want to just give us a couple bars?
I got nothing. I only know Beastie Boys songs. So thankfully it's more talking forcefully than it is singing.
It says here you get an advantage on talking forcefully.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, Sydney, would you roll?
Got bars? Cool.
I rolled a 5. I rolled contortionist. You have superior flexibility and can twist and maneuver your limbs past their natural limits. You have advantage on tests to escape a grapple, which is fun. That's just weird and fun.
That's fun.
I pop my shoulders out every time somebody hugs me. Ugh.
Yeah. It's
She
also
got
kind
it
of
from her
goth.
mother. Yeah.
It's also
She's
kind
a
of goth.
witch.
It's like a freak
it's-
show kind of thing.
Oh, it's so
you know?
goth.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
yeah.
Every party she goes to, she's like, want to say something weird? And she just like twists her arm in like a 360 and pops her
Dislocates her
elbow out.
elbow.
I'm double jointed in all my limbs, so doesn't even hurt. Yeah.
Cool.
My friend's mom, my friend growing up, his mom, she had like, relatively young in life, she started to have a lot of health problems. She started to have a lot of joints replaced, and she was constantly having surgeries. At one point, she got her elbow replaced, but then it got infected, so they had to remove the new elbow and like wait till they could treat the infection, and then they could go in again. But so for a while, she had no elbow.
What?
And so I didn't know that. Like, I'd heard she was going back in for surgery, but I didn't know exactly the specifics. And one day I was over his house. He was like, "Hey, Matthew, come look at this." And I was like, "What?" And she just took her arm and just kind of bent it backwards.
Nope.
It was like rubber. I mean, she didn't go all the way, but I was just like,
Nope.
Man,
"So that's you,
That's
Sydney."
Are you okay?
body horror.
Crazy.
That's a traumatic memory.
That's not cool.
She thought it was funny.
Matt, look at this.
So I said this is like therapeutic. We're bringing up real life stuff and blending it into the story.
It is.
I love it.
This is therapy. Also,
is therapy.
I guess if you have no elbow, you have to laugh about it
Yeah, right.
at Matthew's expense.
Which is ironic because you technically have no funny bone.
Ah.
See, I didn't do the Ross. So I kept it like
You smiled.
Stoic.
You smiled and
I gave it away.
waited.
I gave it away that it was a crap joke.
I enjoyed it.
If you viewers are in the mood for crappy jokes, boy, are you gonna love the next 3 hours, because we are doing every page of this book from top to bottom. No bathroom breaks. We're all wearing Depends adult diapers. Okay, what did you roll, Ross Bryant?
I rolled
your
another
quirk?
1 for my quirk. So my musician does not have perfect pitch, but you'll be excited to learn that he does have animal affinity.
Wow.
Animals feel your connection to the natural world on a subconscious level. All beasts not naturally trained to be hostile are calm in your presence unless provoked, in pain, or have their young nearby. So,
Okay. Pets love you.
I think, yes, I'm going to interpret this as while my pitch may not be perfect, my song doth soothe the savage beast. And, and perhaps they...
Maybe you hone your craft by singing to the denizens of the stable.
Yes, indeed. So, learn the song and singing the birds from the limbs of the trees. I'm a regular Snow White.
You're a
There's that
Disney
great
princess.
detail.
Exactly.
Or
Disney princess.
there's that great detail from Sydney, the book we all read for Legacy that we all loved. Larry McMurtry, Lonesome Dove. There
Lonesome
we go.
Dove.
Oh, I didn't know you were
brain.
asking me. I thought you were just telling the book.
I was desperately calling out for help.
Sorry.
No, but the great detail at the 2 Irish guys they pick up, that like one of them sings and soothes all the cows.
Yeah, he sings to
that's
the
great.
cows, and then he dies a brutal death.
dies.
Wait, I'm
brutal
gonna read that. Don't tell me.
Yeah, I never read it.
Okay,
They
well,
all die.
Well, it's early on.
Now I've got to forget it. Hold on. Okay, I'm good.
So just imagine this little halfling kicking his shoeless heels and singing to livestock.
Love it.
Ross, I don't know why. Have you ever seen the hats that say like "Women love me, fish fear me"?
Oh yes.
I don't know why, but I was like, "Animals love me, fish fear me," and I was like, "Fish is an animal, but I think it works, and I think you could wear a hat that
Animals
says
love
that."
me. Fish fear
Hand
me.
embroidered.
Fish.
If there's one thing Ross Bryant loves, it's a novelty hat.
I do like a little dadly hat. The only kind of hat that work on my little peanut head.
Yeah.
Any other kind of hat just sits on me all weird like.
I've got a t-shirt that says, "This isn't a bald spot, it's a solar panel for brain power."
That's cool.
There you
good.
go,
That's a good one.
Jared.
Did you guys ever get the catalog with a lot of that kind of stuff in it? Like novelty t-shirts and back scratchers
No, it was just anytime I walked into a Spencer's Gifts, that would be my
Yeah.
novelty shirt.
I do what the voices in my head tell me to do.
Okay.
Fluent in sarcasm.
Oh no.
I just saw one of those the other day. I was in the park and I saw somebody just walking around wearing it unironically.
I wonder if there's a D&D equivalent of like a Big Johnson shirt.
Man, I gotta tell you right now, it would be so funny to make a book like this, but make like quirks like this that are like fluent in sarcasm.
Oh no.
I do what the voices in my head tell me to do.
my
I have
God.
the quirk wine mom. It's always wine o'clock somewhere to me.
I also want one of those really long ones that's like beloved granddaughter born in the life path of the unicorn who also and
Yes,
it just
yeah.
keeps like going.
Yeah. Any questions? All
So
right.
yes, I am a badass. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Who are we missing here? Did Matthew tell us his quirk?
No, my quirk is that I am a light sleeper.
Oh,
Come
light
on.
sleeper. The opposite of sound sleeper is in here?
Yes.
Wow.
These quirks are awesome.
right.
Every
It makes
base is
sense when you
covered.
start reading the description.
Just
Read the
reading it,
description.
It makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Oh, wow. Please read it for us.
A paranoid or cautious attitude has kept you safe in pinches before. While you are asleep, you cannot be surprised. Additionally, you always rise before others during a long rest, whether from sleep or trance.
Oh, wow.
Just a life of hell has
Yeah.
made you a light sleeper.
I just sleep like ready to like leap up and try to save my family and rush out.
Exactly. Ready to gather your paltry belongings and flee.
My paltry go bag.
I really want to see this guy in play, honestly. He's just...
Well, I'm just dreading having to pick a class because I cannot for the life of me decide what to do.
Yeah, this guy is a fascinating enigma.
Yes. Let's see. He has a pretty good wisdom bonus, right? And then what else does he have?
He's got +2 wisdom and +1 con at this point.
That's what
Okay.
I'm at. I don't know what to do.
I mean, like ranger. I guess?
Ranger,
Like,
monks
Monk
use
is
wisdom. You could also go cleric because they use wisdom. I don't know. We don't have to choose yet. Oh, yes, we do. Because guess what?
Oh,
No, wait,
After-
did we get Cindy's quirk? What was Cindy's
Oh
quirk?
yeah, I was a weirdo contortionist.
Oh, right.
Contortionist.
The
Yeah.
goth, the goth thing. Right, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to read off some of the other quirks because they're my favorite so far. Iron stomach.
I was hoping for that one.
Yeah.
In real life as well as the game.
Such a
can't be-
weird one.
Hey, you can't be poisoned. That's cool.
yeah.
Here we go. This is insane. Blatherer. You persistently talk rings around anyone with a strong enough will to listen, creating great distractions. Anyone attempting to hide from someone you are talking to gains a +5 bonus to stealth tests.
Whoa.
That's incredible.
You're the
That's
ultimate. And how many times in a D&D game do you go, we're going to create a distraction?
Yeah,
It's a classic
That would be
trope.
so helpful.
that's great.
That's huge.
Uh,
But hey, animals are calm near me, so that's pretty cool.
yeah.
My favorite that I wanted, but was passionate. But then I read the description. It wasn't quite the passion I was imagining.
yeah. It's about skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Although I will just say that the GURPS game has a skill called erotic arts, just so you know that that's...
Oh.
What?
I'm into that.
There is
What was
a
the game we were just
role-playing
talking about
game.
today, Sydney, that where you roll against your lust score?
Oh, was it Pendragon?
It's Pendragon.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
that's
Pendragon.
amazing.
You in your downtime, you roll against your lust to basically not accidentally have kids.
Just to keep it together. Yeah, that's
It's awesome. I love legacy games
Yeah,
like this. I love it.
That sounds great. There actually is one, guys, one of these quirks that is quirkless. It's like you don't have a quirk. It's called fateless.
Oh,
You are cursed, a cosmic mistake, or an anomaly in time. Even if you aren't aware of it, Soothsayers have a hard time discerning your future, and you are beyond the perceptions of the divine. The gods don't know you exist.
They don't remember your name.
That's so embarrassing.
Oh God, name's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. He's got a face. He's got
Jeremy?
arms.
No, not a Jeremy. Oof.
I
Oof.
kind of love that one.
That's rad.
I love it so much that I might just steal it when I'm creating a character for anything. Okay. So now we do come to class. Each of your class options, they're the classic player's handbook, main choices that you get in there. Each of them give you a attribute bump. And then after we kind of choose our class, then we're going to do not quite yet to doing all of our attribute scores. It's so funny that, in normal character creation, attribute scores are sort of the first thing you do.
Yeah.
But here you kind of build toward them. So it is time to choose your class, though, guys. And I can tell you that when you do choose your attribute scores, you should be able to kind of work things enough that anything will work here. Is it a good idea to say I have +2 wisdom, I should pick a wisdom class? Yes, it is. But if that's not exactly what's calling your name, I think it'll still work out.
Okay.
So
I think I know what I'm going to do right off the bat. I feel like mine was kind of easier.
Okay, great.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to do a cleric. I think it just made the most sense towards the end. I was really confused about who my character was, especially because my stats are really spaced out right now. I have 1 in charisma, 1 in strength from a choice I made. I get to put 2 from being a human into 2 different ones. So I put 1 in wisdom. So now as a cleric, I can boost another 1 into wisdom. I get a 2 right now in wisdom, +2. And I think it just makes sense. She's been working in the churches, and she's like, yeah, this is my path, the righteous path. And I think it's yet to be determined what kind of cleric she would be. I don't know if she's like a fighter cleric or a healer cleric, but I feel like that's the right choice. I
think so too. And it's kind of fun how it all kind of led to just this kind of very clear choice for her. That's great. She's like painting frescoes, and then eventually she's like, I want to become one of you. I want to join the order. I want to take my vows.
Yeah. She tries on the robe one day in the back room, and the priest comes in. She's like, oh, sorry. And then, she starts to take it off, and they're like, no, it looks really good on you.
Yeah.
You look awesome and hot. You should keep that robe on. She's like, okay.
They're like,
thanks.
You're a cleric now. This is how we get new people.
Then your shoulders dislocate and you crab walk out of the room.
Exactly.
Just like my mother. Just like my mother.
Just like your mother crab walking everywhere.
Got your mother's crab walk.
Maybe you can use the contortionism in your ministry.
Oh, absolutely. It's like speaking in tongues, but I just start breaking all my bones. And I'm like, the faith is in me.
And I've never seen a creepy goth girl cleric before, and I would love to see it. I think it would be...
I'm bringing a whole new energy.
Yeah, it is a different energy than you normally see people play with a cleric. Okay, who else knows what class they're going to go with?
I feel like mine has also just come so into focus so early with the big charisma dumps. So I was like, this guy's a singer. And so yes, I'm going to take Bard. And I think it's a similar thing where I'm going to say mom is a big wheel in town, was an adventurer in her youth, like Bilbo, had an amazing adventure, came back, but whatever they were going to do, they failed. It was a great adventure and an amazing experience, but they weren't able to complete what it was that they were trying to accomplish, and that has haunted her, thus wistful. And she wants one of the 10 youths in the house to grow up well. You can do whatever you like, but it's that kind of thing. It's like, oh, he's pursuing the arts. You do what you need to do, and I sense that. And even though I'm pursuing it, I know that I need to have an adventure for her sake.
Yeah, well, to get her approval or to get her love.
That's right, to get her love.
Well, she was smothering anyway, though, right?
She was giving me love, but it wasn't...
She was giving you. It wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm. That's right, because I'm going to... I need attention. I need it.
Did she come back with the magical phenomenon?
This is what I'm thinking. That maybe she came back with, magic that was like spilling out or left some part of her ensorcelled in some way. And I, of course, told everybody about it by writing a cool song about it.
Right. Maybe it was a ring that she should have kept very secret.
For example.
But you told everybody about it. And then 9 dark riders came to town and murdered her.
That
Yes.
is an option.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go ahead and
Go
put
ahead.
it out there that the instrument is a hurdy-gurdy. It's
Oh
Wait, what's
my gosh.
Wait, I don't know what that is exactly. I know the
It's
song that I
so
like that goes
big.
hurdy-gurdy,
It's huge.
hurdy-gurdy,
The Donovan song,
hurdy-gurdy,
yeah.
man.
So a hurdy-gurdy is a really weird instrument. If you've never seen it, I encourage you to look it up. It's like a big wooden plank, and it's strings. Imagine a violin, but instead of you holding the bows are all like on keys, and the strings
this
move
is not
because
what
you
I was
turn a
picturing at all.
crank. So you
Oh my
turn a
God.
crank and you press the keys that sort of like make the body of this thing sound, and it has this really almost like sitar-ish kind of drone to it.
Whoa, okay.
It's
I love it.
it's really medieval sounding. And it's also an instrument that kind of sort of looks like a Gatling gun. It's like you're turning this crank the whole time.
I also love the idea of a halfling carrying this huge thing on his back.
Well, Jared, he's very strong.
He's
That's
large.
right. That's right. Yeah, no problem.
He's a wagon.
He came down
a
off the
wagon.
mountain with a hurdy-gurdy on his back.
He's
All
a
right.
fridge. He's a wagon.
Yeah,
He's a straight-up wagon.
he's got
okay.
dumps like a truck.
The stacked little halfling. Okay, that means it's time for Rob or Matthew to decide class, and it's a little less clear with these guys,
It
maybe.
is.
I think I've decided. I think I'm gonna go ranger. I thought about cleric, but then we've already got a little bit of the cloth in our party here, and I just feel like if you grew up in this terrible place and learned all these survival skills. Maybe eventually, I don't know why yet. Maybe we'll find out from future tables. But he was cast back onto the prime material plane, and then had to scrape together a living by making shoes and rangering. So now here's my question: being a ranger gives me +1 dex or wisdom. I've already got a +2 wisdom, so I probably should take the dex, right? Or do I want to max out wisdom?
I think that it's up to you, but I would say, were I making a ranger, I'd throw something into Dex, probably.
Yeah, just to shoot a bow and arrow here and there.
Yeah, also, let's see, a cleric, a bard. Yeah, looking like someone needs to be able to do some martial damage here, if we're putting a party together.
Great. I think I have a name.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Fleetwood.
Johnny Fleetwood.
Oh.
No, his name is Limmy, son of Offveld.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Okay.
Lemmy, son of Offveld.
Yes.
Lemmy
So
is in Motorhead Lemmy? Oh, Lemmy. Got it.
Limmy.
Yeah.
Like Timmy, but Limmy.
Limmy.
Got it.
Son of a
Limmy.
It's when they found him, he had his name Limmy attached to him on a little piece of paper with a pin. But then, of
Oh.
course, he was part of their family, so he adopted the patronymic, as it were.
Okay.
That's
Imagine when Lemmy first starts telling people about himself while they're all gathered around the campfire.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
do you
it's
think
gonna
what do
be
you think I lead
really.
with?
They're expecting just a quick, what's your life story? And then cut to 30 minutes later, and everyone's just sort of,
Everyone's really depressed.
What? There was a Pegasus?
Just for a little
Yeah, wait.
while.
What
Rewind.
dimension?
We got to go back to the Pegasus. I'm stuck on the Pegasus.
And if
Yes,
I'm
yes,
your
yes.
GM, I'm thinking, okay, at what point do I give this character a Pegasus again? Because a ranger with a fucking Pegasus?
Come on.
That's just cool, man.
it's go time.
Yeah.
That's the side of a van, baby. Let's go.
That
Yeah.
is the side of a van. Okay, that leaves us with Rob. Rob,
Okay.
what are we gonna do here?
That ranger decision on Matthew's part helped clarify things for me. I'm gonna go. I'm an elf, so I'm assuming I'm already gonna get some dexterity to begin with, as elves are wont to do. Plus, I've already got 2 +1s in wisdom, so I'm going monk. I think it's perfect for the middle kid who got ignored to spend most of his time staring at the Dungeons and Dragons equivalent of a Bruce Lee poster in his room, doing push-ups on his on his two fingers, just like learning, and then ending up getting thrust into this adventure where he gets kidnapped, and he's like, that's it, it's my time to shine, let's go. And so basically goes off from there and has dedicated his life to becoming a martial weapon, who can also whip up a nice cold remedy. So
Yes. Yeah.
that's where I'm going with that. And I feel like I would take, with already the 2 points in wisdom, I feel like I would take the dex, knowing that there's probably more dex happening elf-wise.
I don't know that you're right about that, but you'll see.
Does that not work with this? Okay.
Yeah, it's not quite like that. You already got your lineage bonus when you looked at your lineage.
Okay. Right.
So, but that's okay. Like I said, I think it all comes together pretty neatly when you get to the end here. So, I love that he became a monk. Maybe a monk in an order of monster hunters or something like that.
I mean, here's the thing with the monk description, and I don't want to get semantic about it, but it never says that he has to like commit himself to any sort of order. It just says monk, a master of martial arts. So I feel like I'm thinking about like the kids in suburbia who are like, I am a kung fu master. That's what I've dedicated my life to. I've got 2 foam nunchucks, and I practice with them 30 minutes a day while listening to Pearl Jam.
Okay, all right. So this guy is he's created his own martial art.
Yes.
I love it. All right. So now we're gonna do the call to adventure. At the beginning of every adventurer's story is one pivotal moment, an event that changes their life forever. This inciting incident comes in many forms. Drawing upon all you have learned about your life so far, consider what drove you to leave your humble origins behind and heed the call to adventure. So first we roll on our adventure awaits table. Now some very clear ideas have formed already, including ideas about why these people are adventuring, and that's okay. Let's see if we can fold in what we roll here. If not, if I were your GM at this point, I might be like, I kind of love what you've got going already. So, you can choose something here or you could ignore it, but let's see what happens when we roll here. Who's giggling with glee?
I am.
Okay, Matthew, what'd you get?
Because Lemmy rolled an 8, which is you witness something terrible and must flee.
Of course he did.
Perfect.
Fucking Charlie Brown over here.
What were you, fixing somebody's shoe and witness a murder?
Witness 2 knights murder each other or kill my family or something. All right, what other things can we pile? What other traumas can I pile upon Lemmy's shoulders? Yeah.
It's just so funny, knowing your character has been through kind of, in a way, more than the others. In a way, it's like, it's funny.
I like the idea that he has to go on the run, and he finds himself back on the material plane, and meets up with Ross's musician, and he's just like, my long lost brother. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know how to be. He doesn't have any social skills. He's used to surviving in like some blasted heath somewhere.
Well, if you say so, yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. So here's where our income comes in. We're gonna in a minute find out what that income die meant. But we have to do adventure awaits for everybody. So, what'd you roll, Rob?
What'd you roll, Sydney?
This is so perfect. I rolled a 1.
So did I.
Me too.
Whoa! What? Holy shit!
I love this. It's so perfect. It's like they killed my mom, we did it, and then they burned down the haunted house. And my character named Mori Sanguinarius.
Yes.
He's just standing.
Yes.
You made up that last name. She made up that last name. That's not
It's actually Latin for bloodthirsty.
It's awesome.
Her real last name's Rabinowitz.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop it.
Yes.
No, it's not. You don't know me. You didn't know me in middle school. She just stands there staring at her burning house. And she takes Rob's hand and she's like, well, I guess we're like totally on our own now.
Yeah. I think my character this has become his adopted home, and it's destroyed.
they've totally fucked up the whole house.
Yep.
It's like totally gone. So we should just move on. Whatever. Who cares? I had a bunch of stuff in there. I don't even care about it anymore.
I'm taking my wooden training man with me.
Thank God I have my fresco paints. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love that your goth priest is with a guy who can like cook up your drugs for you.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, he
then I
also
sell them.
he definitely has a mullet.
What a
He's
fun
got
pair.
a mullet.
Ooh,
And you know she also has a mullet.
Elven mullet.
Both have mullets.
Goth mullet.
Mullet buddies.
I was envisioning everybody having a mullet. I don't know why.
Oh, that works too. The name of the adventure is Mullet Town.
Ross, were you also staying in the haunted house?
Where were
Do
you?
you know
What
me?
did your life
How did your
explode?
home get destroyed?
How indeed. Yeah, how did my little alpine halfling fastness get wrecked?
You had a nice home too, like.
But I'm a musician.
good-
I wander, perhaps. But yeah, nice home, good home with 10 extended family members at one
Hope
time
everyone's
in it. At least when I was growing up.
It could also be the whole town, you know?
I
It
think-
could be.
That sounds more like it. Like
The valley.
yeah, like the whole little holler. Got crushed by an avalanche. Or maybe
God.
when Limmy tore a hole in the plains and stumbled back into our reality. It took the top off the mountain and it landslid down into the halfling town.
Oh God.
Wow, that's tragic.
Sorry.
But it
He
says
is Charlie Brown. He's so Charlie Brown.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks
he
a lot,
blames
Blockhead.
himself. It's my fault.
He takes his
The
bottom
Eeyore.
I think Limmy has a Canadian accent, by the way.
Oh, great.
That's perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, the
Well,
language
it's a
of the
higher.
outer
It's actually a
plains.
higher plains accent, but it sounds a lot like a Canadian accent.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's everybody, right? You guys have all
Yep.
because 3 of you had your home destroyed,
Yes.
and the other person saw something so horrible they had to flee. Okay, so then you would get your starting gold, and instead of going exactly by how it goes in the player's handbook, you would look at your class, and for example, our monk friend gets 10 gold pieces times his income dice, which I think was a D6 for apothecary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I rolled a 6 on that, so I got
Whoa.
60 GP.
Great. And then our humble cobbler / ranger, the ranger already gets only 20 GP, but times 1d4. Okay, so that's actually it could be about even to what the apothecary gets.
I rolled a 3, so I start out with 60 gold pieces.
There it is. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the musician would be, the bard rather, 20 gold times 1d8, I think it was.
That's right. D8. Here we go. All right. 60 gold. Rolled a 3.
Another 60 gold. Wow, it's like everybody has the same amount of wealth here. And then finally our cleric gets 20 gold times what was your occupation? Oh, fresco painter. 1d8, I think, right?
Yeah, 1d8, and I rolled a 5, so I get 100 gold pieces.
Oh, someone's got the most money here.
Jingle jangle.
All right. Then you do your attribute scores, and you can choose to either roll them or you can do an array. I always love doing an array when I play D&D because it just makes it quicker. Like it's just like the array in a life well lived is 14, 14, 12, 12, 10, and 8. You decide anywhere you want those to go, and then you apply the bonuses you got earlier. So for example, if you already knew you had +2 points to wisdom, you put a 14 in there, you end up with a 16. That's how
Love it.
That's how it works. Excuse me. So do people want to just do it with the array? Is that okay?
Sure.
Oh, I'm rolling.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
all right.
Go for it. You can roll if you want. Absolutely. And if you roll, you could, roll and then put the scores where you want them, Matthew, or you could just straight up what I call raw dog it and just go from strength down
Yep.
with whatever you roll.
All right, I'm gonna raw dog it then.
Wow.
Raw dogging it. That takes bravery.
I'm gonna add my bonuses later.
Okay, great. Raw dogging it or rather,
It's a sensitive term.
Say more. Say more.
It's a sensitive term that I'll stop using. But have you seen where people are now riding on airplanes and they're not reading books or listening to music? They're just staring at the map, and they call that raw dogging it.
No, I didn't know
literally
that,
just
but
talked
that's
about
amazing.
this on Legacy. Right, Cindy, you were there. When were we talking about this?
Was this the recording that I was not there for?
Yes, you weren't there for it. Yes, we literally just talked about on Legacy that we were about raw dogging it, and everyone
That's psychotic.
Everyone got really. I find it hilarious. It's the most hilarious thing to me in the world.
That is the most hilarious application of that term. I've
I
never
think
heard
I'm
of
going
it
to try it. I'm going to try it.
Maybe I like lack the mental fortitude, and I know that, and I'm fearful of what might happen to my brain if I sit in silence for that long. But man, yeah, I don't want to do that at all.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to do that even a little bit.
People are posting about it and writing things like, "My brain is amazing," because they were able to just sit there and amuse themselves with their thoughts for they're claiming like 9 hours and stuff like that.
My father-in-law, before he was raw dogging it before it was cool. Like when he flew out to Seattle to see his daughter, it was like he saw the flight tracker and was like, "Wow, I've never seen this before." Because he doesn't fly that often.
And just couldn't take his eyes off it.
And he was like, "I'll watch this for 6 hours."
But imagine you're sitting next to a stranger and you look over, and for the entire 9-hour flight, they're like this.
I was once on a flight with a famous playwright who will remain nameless, but is a total, like a famous experimental playwright. And he, like, the entire
Most
time...
likely a household name then.
very, very household name. Yeah, very much household name.
He's probably listening.
He did not bring a book. He did not have any kind of entertainment materials. He did not turn on the flight tracker. He just stayed and just was content to like sit with his own thoughts for the entirety of the flight.
Wow.
Couldn't be me.
So
You can't be trapped in here.
For those of you who are not just straight up rolling it, that array is 14, 14, 12, 12, 10, and 8. So a dump stat is definitely factored into that. I love a dump stat too. I love to be able to look at my character sheet and go, okay, he's really strong and he's really fast, but man, he is not wise at all. He doesn't notice anything and he doesn't pick up on social cues.
what is the attribute bonuses again? Remind me. Like 0 is what? 10, 9, and 10.
Yes,
and
thank you. Yeah, and we could pull out our player's handbook here and find that, but I believe it's like, oh God, I have to look it up.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, right, because we got to add that on top of the other things that we have, right?
I feel silly not remembering.
I
think 12 is a plus.
We should know this by heart.
Or 10
I know. Okay, I found it. For 8 through 9, it's a -1. 10 through 11, it's a 0. 12 through 13, +1. 14 through 15, +2. 16 through 17, +3. And then so on and so forth.
Okay.
Not as good as I thought. I kind of.
No, wait a minute.
Wait, 13 is +1 or +2?
+1.
13 is a +1.
And I'm sorry, once again, it's 12, 12, or I'm sorry, 14, 14, 12, 10, 8.
12,
14,
12,
12, 10, and 8.
Thank you,
Let's
sir.
all shout different.
Let's do it at the
18,
same time.
35.
7.
7.
Okay.
Fun.
Yeah, so is anybody Matthew, have you finished up Lemmy's scores there? Where did he end up?
Yeah, so it actually kind of worked out okay, even with the raw dogging. He's got a strength of 11, a dex of 17, so that's my
Holy
best stat.
crap.
Con of 12, intelligence of 12, wisdom of 13, charisma of 13. So for a ranger, I think it worked out.
Those are really good.
Wow.
Not
That's
bad at all.
great. Yeah. And anybody else? Do you have your scores in order? You want to tell us about them?
Yeah, I got
I'm,
him.
Okay.
I'm wise.
Go for it, Rob. And does your character have a name yet?
Let's call him Keldoc. But with a Q at the end.
Love it.
And there's an apostrophe somewhere in there.
That's good
and I'll
stuff.
let you know about that later.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's wow, that was a nice quick elf name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What are the attributes looking like?
Well, of course, the strength is an 8. That's just a flimsy gentleman.
You're a monk with an
I'm a
8
monk.
strength.
Monks don't care about strength; they care about dex.
That's true, but it is still hilarious. Okay.
I think they care
push-ups.
about dex. I played a monk once. It was fun. He was a dragonborn. It wasn't ideal. Dexterity is a 14. Oh, wait, am I supposed to add these other, like, the pluses? Or that's just the bonus you get when you, like, if you were to roll, then you add that?
No, you add them. You add them. So anything you got earlier in your character creation process, for example, if you chose monk and you got +1 to dexterity, then right now you would take a 14 from the array, put it into dexterity, add 1 for a 15 final score.
Okay, oh, I see. Okay, 15. Okay. So the bonuses come from the chart that we just kind of looked up and we're trying to remember of.
Right. You
once
mean
you're above a certain
the roll bonuses come as they do in normal 5e Dungeons and Dragons. They're based on that chart. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So then that's a 15 in dexterity, a 13 in con, a 12 in intelligence, a 16 in wisdom.
Okay.
And a 10 in charisma.
I like this elven monk with a high wisdom score.
Yeah, he's not strong, and he's not charismatic because of his life of being ignored. But everything else seems to make sense.
Would anybody else like to talk about their attribute scores, or we can even keep going because there's just a couple more fun things that finish out the character. But actually, let's get everybody's. What's that?
Yeah, I can rattle through them here.
Okay, rattle through them.
All right. My halfling, who I think his name is Loga, Loge. Loga.
Love it.
His strength is 15. His dexterity is 12. His constitution, 10. His intelligence, 8. Let us recall that he is irresponsible. His wisdom is 12, and his charisma is 17.
Oh, that is a lot
lovely.
of charisma, baby.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty face, but not too smart.
No.
Not too smart between the ears. What about Sanguinarius?
Sanguinarius. Strength, not strong. That's a 9. Dexterity, 13. Constitution, 15. Intelligence, 10. Wisdom, 16. And charisma, 13. It kind of worked out. It makes sense for all her stuff.
It works out, right? You still are able to get the high bonuses in the attributes where you need them for your class, and I think everybody just listed off a beautiful working character. Let's get a couple finishing touches. How about lies we tell ourselves?
Wow. This is my favorite table so far.
I love this.
This also is going to trigger me.
We each harbor beliefs and values we stand by because we believe them to be correct. These beliefs, however, are often misconceptions about ourselves, others, or the world. Holy shit! Talk about deep character creation.
Yes.
Yeah. Therapy indeed.
All right, let us lay down on our therapist's couch and roll a d20.
All right. There are probably a lot of them on here that would be great, but the one I rolled I love.
What'd you get?
12. They'll leave if they see the real me.
Oh, no. Bwah, bwah, bwah.
Oh my God.
The poor guy.
Lies. I found it right on the sheet.
That is so sad. But interesting to play, though. A very playable. I gotta believe some acting teachers were involved in this, or some playwrights.
It's a rich tapestry.
Mm-hmm.
There is there's just so many playable motivations. Okay, who else rolled? Who would like to tell me what they got?
I rolled a 1. Love is weakness.
Oh my God! Your parents were distant, and now you believe that?
Yes. No, yeah. You can't. That's why I got no attention. Is because they knew that. They knew the truth.
Oh.
And now I know it.
Man.
Rob.
Yeah.
These are.
I need a second guess.
Yeah, man. These are gonna make me cry. Okay, Ross, what did you roll? What did a logo roll?
Loga Lowland, that's his last name. Loga Lowland.
Yes.
He rolled one last job, and I'll be able to stop.
Oh.
So,
interesting.
What does this mean? Maybe one last job as an adventurer? I get the sense that his music is not something he wants to stop.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please do.
his mom went on a quest that she failed.
And that's the job he needs to finish.
That's the job. That's
And
it.
then
Once he's finished that
to
job.
redeem his household,
Yeah.
to build the final monument over the shattered ruins of his of his hobbit town, there in the cleft of the high mountains.
I love it.
He must perform
Oh my
this
God, it's
one
perfect.
last quest.
Yeah. Yeah, now that she's dead, it means even more. I don't know that she's dead. Now that their home is destroyed, it means even more. Great. What did our friend Sanguinarius roll?
Sanguinarius got saving the world is my job, fixing it is someone else's.
Ooh.
Which I kind of like as this new like priesthood she's adopted, where she didn't really fix her mom, but she feels like she saved her in a way. But really, like, they killed someone and the house got destroyed, and she's like, that is not my problem. I did what I had to do, and I will keep doing what I have to do. And if I leave it like a burned trail in my path, that's fine, because I'm saving people, which I think is an awesome lie to tell yourself as like a church leader.
That one is complex. That's like that's like a Zen cone or something like
The layers.
Yeah, there's layers there. Oh my God. And
She's
also
so messed up.
a cleric who kind of is like, you can't fix the world is sort of a unexpected point of view.
Yeah, she's different.
These characters, speaking personally, these characters feel like I would get there in a regular game, but it would take me like 15 sessions to figure this out, right? Like I would need to kind of go back and forth and hear what's happening and use that to reflect and all this stuff. But this is it's all right there right now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I also love that we did it together, right? So
Yeah.
we have, even if our characters don't have the full understanding, and we also could maybe it's this, and it's not just the emergent storytelling that's really attractive to me. It's the way that we can kind of collaborate.
The collaboration is
sort of
great.
pitch on each other's ideas, and it all sort of begins to coalesce among ourselves. I love
It's
it.
also the cool thing where we all know each other's secrets almost, but not really, but it helps us to do storytelling for later in the game, which I feel like is such a hurdle when you play with people or strangers and you're like, how do we connect?
And speaking of secrets, the next table is called Skeletons in the Closet.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Only a 1d6.
Only
I'm
a 1d6.
disappointed that there's only 6 options for.
Yeah.
We all gonna have the same one?
Okay. What are you looking at? What do you see?
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
The event from I rolled a 1. I've been rolling mostly 1s. Off to a great start. The event from your early childhood is how you prefer to tell the story, but the truth is much uglier.
Oh.
What was your event? Do you remember?
Yeah, early childhood was like early childhood event. It was
It would have been about the mountain town, I think, right? The mountainous region.
I remember, of course, the adolescent thing being seeing the magical phenomena.
Yeah.
My event was the Pegasus thing.
Right.
It says the event is the steep slopes of your mountain town fostered strong legs and lungs.
Oh.
As you grew, your parents refused to carry your weight, so you increased your strength score by 1.
That was
Okay.
the event?
That's what you tell people.
That's what I tell people. But really, it's that Mom's disappointment filtered into the family. And it wasn't that I was out there just hale and hearty while the hills were alive with the sound of music. I was unwanted. And everything that I've done has been for my mother's attention. Being a musical star is for mommy's attention. Everything is for mommy's attention.
Let him cook, guys.
And I will,
This is great.
and I will, fulfill the quest that she could not for her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm into it.
It's heavy. What else? What did other people roll?
I rolled a 3.
I rolled that as well. I'm not sure
Me
what it...
too.
Oh.
Really?
And
Whoa.
I've got mine figured out, but Matthew, you go.
Yeah, it's choose someone from your life path who you share a bond with. You made a strong promise to them, and though they don't know it, you have broken it. So I'm thinking maybe it's like one of my adoptive parents that I promised something, like so I would do something, but then I saw them do something terrible, or some sort of murder with the knights that were stationed or garrisoned at our house, and I ran away, and I have not fulfilled that responsibility.
And somehow you have to get back to the higher planes to maybe do it, or to apologize for not doing it, and you have no way of doing that right now.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry. Did Rob, did you and Sydney break your promise to each other?
That's what I'm saying. And this is what makes me want to play these characters even more now, is that Sydney is now officially a character in my life story, right? I mean, like, as we were going along, that evolved.
Yeah.
So I think that I made a promise to her before the party set out to try to protect, try to find a way to save her mom. And I'm the one that killed her.
And do I know that?
No, that's the secret.
And I think similarly, I made a promise to my estranged family that ignored my mom and her condition and didn't really help me or financially or anything. I made the promise that I would stay and help. And now this horrible tragedy has occurred. The house is gone. The mom is dead. And I think I feel like a failure, even though I was an active participant in the events that led up to it. Very, very complex feelings for my family and my bonds. But I don't know that you lied to me, which is sad.
Yeah, it's sad. And I'm realizing now the way that I killed your mom was because I'm a monk. I fucking hit a fence post so hard that it turned horizontal and flew into her heart. I opened
Wait,
palm
you gotta
struck.
roll for that, Rob.
No, no.
Can't you say
It was a
that
moment
shit
of
happens, man?
That rocks.
I did a Hadouken on a fence post and it flew into her mother's chest.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think those are beautiful and very playable as well. Definitely set you up for certain interactions when the secrets come out. Now we've already created, just from the prompts we've received already, connections between each other. But right now you can choose one other member of the party and roll on this connections table.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Ooh.
And it's a D100 roll, and you find out something about your relationship to them. You know what might be interesting is if for example, Rob and Sydney already have kind of a connection, maybe Rob, now you roll to see what your connection is to
Let's
Matthew.
branch it out. Yeah.
To Lemmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody roll on that table and then pick someone and say this is our deal.
That's cool.
Oh. I think I want Ross as my connection for what I rolled.
Oh, what did you roll?
I rolled a 99, and it says blank. So Logan and I met when a traveling circus dragged us both on stage to participate in an act.
Great.
Something tells me contortionism was involved, and
I didn't know what else to do. That's what we tell the story around the campfire. He started singing.
to the stirring
I started
strains.
snapping my bones. I didn't know that it was a circus act.
Yeah, I was hurdy-gurdy in a way while you were just herking and jerking.
Herking and jerking my body.
Yep. That's great.
I rolled a 70, and I feel like that could apply to any one of you. Though maybe my thing with the thinking you're my long lost brother, Ross, will be things. Maybe this is for Sydney and or Rob.
This is such a Lemmy. It's just another thing that would happen to you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So one of you overheard a thug planning to ambush me at the tavern and warned me in time.
I think that would be you, Rob. That would be you. You're a monk.
God. Oh yeah, monkey ears. It's a skill.
Well, you do have a high wisdom, which covers hearing.
Oh,
so.
that's a good point. Okay. All right, then that kind of dovetails. Because mine, honestly, I'm not quite sure who to go with. It's I rolled a 23, which is blank and I worked together until fate led us down different paths. So maybe that was I met Lemmy. Sorry. The idea of me traveling with Lemmy is appealing in its own right. Lemmy and I met when I warned him of a potential murder targeting him, and then maybe we hung out for a bit and did some things. But then I'm like, oh, you're just a cobbler, and kind of drifted away.
Yeah, I'm just too sad.
Yeah, you're bringing me down.
I try to keep it positive, but I can't help but just talk about that time.
That your family was hurtled through another dimension.
Yeah, and how I was forced to cobble shoes for
a war band.
a band of rogue knights.
Yeah. This is a weird one. I rolled a 26. Someone in the party and I were neighbors, and we had a rivalry over the appearance of our homes.
What?
So
Oh my God, an HOA
dispute between. So part of me is like, okay, this implies that the town, we're all maybe like from the same little burg, but we know that Rob's character is from a city. The haunted house is from the outskirts of another town. Maybe it's this one. Enough to where like a traveling circus would get us both as patrons.
Maybe it's Rob's family pre being abducted by bandits.
But we were still in the city.
Oh, they were the city ones.
Yeah, they were in the
folk.
city.
I mean, it is a large. I'm imagining it is a large warren that the lowlands live in. Maybe they're house proud. Maybe there are frescoes in there. Maybe there was a fresco rivalry.
Oh yeah. Or you can interpret these things kind of like broadly sometimes. Maybe you hired Sanguinarius to paint a fresco and you didn't like how it turned out. I mean, it could be, and that's just one suggestion.
It's just too damn goth.
Yeah.
There's too many bat wings.
We're trying to liven up the room, and now
I put horns on everything.
Everything
and I
looks
was
like the crow.
It's my
Little skulls.
interpretation. It's my interpretation.
looking for a bright sunlit day, and it looks like Emily the Strange in here.
Do you want the mural or not?
Tim Burton. Well, I suppose
Johnny
I've
the
already paid.
homicidal maniac frescoes all over the
John and Vasquez all threw up all over the walls. Well, I suppose I've already paid you up front. Nothing to do about it now.
We now have, I think, really fleshed out characters that are ready to go into a game. I think that they have attitudes toward each other, towards the world, towards themselves. In any gaming situation, that with any encounter, I feel like you could look at your sheet and figure out what your point of view is. And this is just the tip of the iceberg with this book, okay? It's called A Life Well Lived. I just want to say it as many times as possible. If we kept going, you could give your characters short-term goals that allow them to earn extra experience points, long-term goals that allow them to earn extra experience points, and then we get into things to do around the campfire, things to do in downtime, the patron, the retirement, all the different things that really, really just kind of bring characters to life are in this book. So I just want to thank you guys for building these characters, building this party with me. Damn, I think we gotta...
Yeah.
Do you guys want to just... We'll turn off the recording, but do you just guys want to play a Dungeons and Dragons game for a while with these characters?
Just get into a session
Yes,
one.
obviously.
Yeah.
I thought you never asked, Jared.
Yes.
I think we're ready to go.
Thanks for walking us through it, Jared. I
Yeah.
mean, this is
Yeah,
really,
totally.
really cool and
Hey,
different. I loved it.
I can't wait to do this with my friends. Like, this
Yeah.
is so up my alley and so much fun. And I'm such a sucker for tables, and there's just tables galore. I want to roll up another character now.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. This is such a fun thing for old hands who would just take you in wild new directions and get you out of maybe whatever ruts you may have found yourselves in. And if you were a first time player, this would be such a fun guiding hand, and it would open it up so
Makes
much.
it
She was
way
like,
less
"Oh, this is what
intimidating."
this is."
Yeah.
It would be so cool.
This is what you should do when you raw dog a plane.
Yeah. Next time, don't raw dog the plane.
Well, that
Should not
wouldn't
be
be
raw
that
dogging.
wouldn't be raw dogging because you would be
This is
entertaining
the
yourself.
new raw. No,
it'd be
this is the new raw
If you had a
dog.
life well lived, it's a little less than raw.
Yeah, I
There's an element of displeasure that's implied when you say raw dogging. It's a
I feel
real,
like a life well lived does not involve raw dogging, is what I think.
Okay, fair enough. To each their own. I'm gonna do this on a plane.
the sponsor's going to love this.
The book is called A Life Well Lived. It's from Cubicle 7. You can get it right now at cubicle7games.com. It is available at Gen Con, too, where we are right now. And guess what? Gen Con's almost over.
Whoa.
Hooray, or are you sad? I'm sad. I love Gen
I guess
Con.
I'm sad.
Gen Con is my Easter. Okay.
I guess if that's the case, I can already feel the COVID rising inside me.
Don't say
We
it.
want to remind everybody that Get in the Trunk Season 6 premieres Tuesday, August 6th. Sydney, you're on that.
I am.
Oh, awesome.
Watch it. It's crazy. It's messed up.
Go buy A Life Well Lived from Cubicle 7 Games. I've been Jared Logan. I've been with Ross Bryant, Matthew Capodicasa, Rob Kerkovich, and Sydney Amanuel. We love you. Good night.
Night, everybody.